She continued to speak, addressing us all. Have you lost your humanity completely? Is that why you are so cold and calculated? For when you walk into this room, you are not just God-fearing men or fathers or mothers to your own. You are that to all human beings you govern. You must think of all of their beliefs as if they were your own. You may believe differently than others, but your Republican beliefs should lend your legislation to granting people the ability to gain their freedom, not just slaves for the rich. After all these years, you still can't let slavery go. She mumbled under her breath. She took a deep breath, resuming her thought. Not everyone believes in the same religion in the United States. It will guide their choices, which they need to be able to make. That is what makes America great. What makes the American dream? Have we forgotten? Freedom to create your own fortune, free of oppression, free from the fear of death for just being who you are. The way the founding fathers would have liked it to stay. The Mayflower came here to get away from the religious oppression they faced. Can we please stop repeating the same oppression as they did to the Indians and every other person different than them? This creed you fear has lived here for years in harmony and peace. A few from a radical regime from a different country of said creed came here and killed many in the name of their God, as your God-fearing ancestors have done in the past to others, took them from their homes and barred them from a normal life, stripped them of their beliefs, made them slaves and took their lives. As life grew more civilized, you branded them with lies, like lazy, filthy, and other names we shall not mention, that many of your constituents use to this very day. Vilify them to justify your hate. There is no justification, is there, in the end? For God gave you free will, but you take your free will and force it onto others that have exercised their God-given right to believe in something else. And like all, even your creed, there are some that would use their God to justify the killing of others. Do not vilify them all for the actions of a few, as others outside of your creed have done to you. This creed that you fear, they cast a generalized shadow of the unknown and misunderstood that all the others have in history. This creed that you fear, they cast a generalized shadow of the unknown and misunderstood that all of the others have in history, and it's being repeated now in them. Stop the cycle of repeated history and for once use the facts before you. If a person does something to harm another, then by all means stop that person. If one in a family committed murder, do you arrest the whole family? Of course not. She sighed, irritated, staring pensively at the floor. A guard floated by above her, trying to get his gun, which gingerly tumbled past her head. She absent-mindedly batted it away like an annoying fly. He soundlessly yelled at her and punched the air at her, as his gun floated farther away from him, and he floated away from her and it. Life is so hard to begin with. Yes, there are those that believe differently or live a different life, like those of the LGBTQ community. I just don't understand why it matters so dearly. You're just trying to love each other, and you're desperately trying to pass legislation that kill people to line your pockets. And you think God will smite them? If you don't wish to live their life, then don't live it. Why does peaceful living of someone else's life bear any ill will on the life of others? And you of all people shouldn't care. You want freedom like everyone else. So why make legislation that would restrict anyone from living their life? It makes no sense. You have raped this country of its greatness, and you think more greed will bring it back? You think that will make it stronger? Why do you fight so hard against your own beliefs? You don't even follow the commandments of the God you claim to fear. And it's beyond me as to why. We could live out our lives however we choose, peacefully of course, but we are so busy judging and putting blame on the lives of others, forcing them to fit a category for the mind's convenience to know who to fear. There are only a few things we need to know in behavior to know if people have become beast instead of human. Look up the characteristics of sociopaths and narcissists to know who to be wary of. But a headscarf, or the color of their skin, or sexual orientation is not a sign. or how much money that lines their pockets. Have you forgotten that you are first and foremost human beings? Before religion, before Democrat, before Republican, before fashion, before skin, before language, before gender, before sexual orientation, before money, you are human beings. With all of this clutter, it's like you have lost your humanity altogether. It's the main thing you have in common with each other. I mean, for God's sakes, if you believe that God Almighty created the earth and all it holds, are they not a part of God? This hate of each other's differences makes no sense. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. You need each other. I pray you, for the love of humanity, see each other for the human beings that you are, and please treat each other as such. She turned to a Democrat, holding his phone discreetly. She stared at it with such intention, I knew she was aware he was recording her the whole time. Staring into the camera lens, she continued, I challenge you to pick up the slack. Whatever negative action they take, you respond with a positive and peaceful one. Donate to charities, activists, and new candidates. Find where your talents lie and pour yourself into it, and then them into the world. Show the other countries that we are their allies. Send letters, emails, tweets to every level of government of the United States with well thought out and researched requests of what you want to see your city, state, or the United States do. I want the CEOs of the corporations to actually pay their workers a livable wage. Let them thrive, and so will you. If not, I call all their customers to hit them in their lined pockets. And for the love of humanity, vote. For more than the president, vote for all of them in your state. I don't care if you don't like them. Find the lesser of evils. For an uninformed vote leads to all of our rights being thrown up into the air. Know their policies, hear what they are saying in between the lines, but in the meantime, invest in your community. Love each other's humanity. This is the United States. It cannot be united unless we, for once, let go of our differences. Understand, you have a right to your choices and beliefs, all of you. It is a strength, not a weakness, to have different beliefs and choices. Rise above the beasts and make your humanity known. She turned to me, those ice blue eyes piercing into my soul, and said, So, Mr. Republican, what will you choose? Will you rise above and join humanity? Or will you stay among the beasts? She blinked, and her ice blue eyes were gone, replaced with darkness as black as the void surrounding the planets orbiting the sun. Where an iris should be were stars, in a configuration unknown to any scientist on Earth. She smiled her knowing smile. I blinked, and she was gone. Security was slowly lowered to their feet by an unseen force, and I could move again. But my hair was still gone, and my colleague was still shaken. Everyone else argued over what she was. I angrily stood. How did he get in here? He? It was a her. She had a headscarf, I swear. I thought she was black. She looked very sick. I thought she looked mid-20s. And screamed, I want a sweep of the Senate and all of Congress. She blinked, and her ice blue eyes were gone, replaced with darkness as black as the void surrounding the planets orbiting. She blinked, and her ice blue eyes were gone, replaced with darkness. She blinked, and her ice blue eyes were gone, replaced with darkness. She blinked, and her ice blue eyes were gone, replaced with darkness as... She blinked, and her ice blue eyes were gone, replaced with darkness as black as the void, surrounding the planets orbiting the sun, where an iris should be where...